Good evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business, where we profile prolific youth who are making strides in their respective fields. Now, today's guest is financial services titan and entrepreneur Mogomotsi Patrick France. Mr. France, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Big Budget. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming, definitely.
And I'm happy to be here.
Man, we're happy to have you. We're
Great
definitely
stuff.
happy to have you. Let me remind you that as the conversation goes, we will share a link so that if you would like to call in and ask our guest any questions, you can just click on that link. So before we get into it, give us a bit of your background. Who is Mogomotsi Patrick France?
Thank you, Big Budget. Mogomotsi Patrick France is an entrepreneur, he's a sales guy, it's a guy that grew up in Buntling.
Okay.
And I went to school there, did my primary school there.
All right.
And I did a bit of Tiamo on the way.
Okay.
I think I was a naughty student, and my parents decided, you know what, him being in Buntling, he might have to be, transferred to Tiamo. So I did Tiamo for about 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, went to study, went to do my Form 1,
Okay.
because I started as a Khama,
Okay.
junior school. And then from there went to Naledi, senior, and then went to UB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how my journey of where I am right now really came about. And I can say that in terms of how I grew up, you can say from humble beginnings.
Okay.
I think it's a story that needs to be told a lot, because I think there could be a young entrepreneur out there, there could be anyone out there who really
Absolutely.
think that, you know what, I can make it from the situation that I'm in. I mean, I grew up, as I said, we stayed in Buntling for some time. I have got 5 siblings, and the other, my other siblings that I know about now. And so that I grew up as that kid unali,
Okay.
and I've always been inquisitive.
Yes.
I've always asked questions.
Yes.
And that's basically one of the things that I think started my acquisition of knowledge, because I always wanted to know exactly how the world operates. I mean,
There was a hunger.
my mother was working for government as a cleaner,
Okay.
and then my father working as a driver. And as I grew up, I thought my parents were really making much money. But I remember a story one day in my life when I visited my cousins.
Yes.
And I realized, wow, okay, so I think we are okay here, but there's a better life that people are living. They say you can't see a picture when you're in the frame. Sometimes when you're living in a certain setup, you think everything just exists like that.
Yes.
It's okay just to go to bed without and all that. I'm just
It
saying,
becomes normal.
It becomes normal.
Yes.
You
Yes.
only when you've seen better, that's when you realize, you know what, there is really better things out there. Not that my parents they did what they did with what they
best
could
they
afford.
could. Yes.
But I got to realize now, after being opened up to see that other people are living certain lives, then I aspired that one day I want to change my life. I want to change my parents' lives.
Of course.
I really want to make it better, not only for me, but for my family. And that what ignited me into the trajectory of where I guess we'll talk about where I am right now.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was a rich background that you've given there. And I can already see, because I was going to ask you, what inspired you to get into entrepreneurship, and what exactly was it that you felt compelled you to get into this? And I see that you've mentioned that you wanted to make a difference because you had seen more. You had seen better. So you really wanted to create a better life, not just for yourself, but your parents too.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Perhaps maybe...
I think I can also answer that question in terms of what introduced me to entrepreneurship.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Big Budget, I've always felt something in me was different.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we keep that voice down by not really listening to it. I mean, we all understand that our academic structure programs us to end up becoming employees, being employed by someone at a certain point, and it sharpens our minds towards that.
Yes,
But I've always felt, I remember when I was doing, let me actually start off when I finished my Form 5. Because I remember when I finished at Naledi, I then, found a job at Northwani Pharmacy.
Okay.
I just walked into the store and then said, guys, I just finished writing my exams. and I really want to work with you guys. And the guys saw the energy in me. And they offered me an opportunity. And I know I worked with not only pharmacy for even through the years of my varsity.
Okay.
But even at varsity, though, I was always, trying to figure out what I can do. I remember I was selling CDs at school.
Wow.
You know how the setup of UB is. There will be students coming from all over Botswana.
Of course, yes,
And I had a collection of music. So I realized, you know what? Let me start banning music and selling to them. I'm sorry you're an artist, but I wasn't banning you.
You didn't ban any of Big Budget's tracks.
Yeah, but it was back in the day, when having music was a tough thing to do. Nowadays, you can go on your Apple Music and all that. But back then, I was just banning music and trying to make some money there. And at the same time, as I told you, my father was working for Lewis. There were some computers that were repossessed from clients. I used to buy them and then sell them. And they used to also engage me in terms of fixing for that clients. Kind of I'm talking about when I was still at UB. So even when I was at UB, you can think of it, I was doing Bachelor of Arts and Humanities at UB. Some people, when they look at the field that I'm in, they're thinking, how did you land there? Because we'll talk about that. But I was doing Bachelor of Arts. Somehow, even when I was doing Bachelor of Arts, there was still this thing in me to say enterprise.
Absolutely.
And at that time, I didn't know the thing called entrepreneurship. It was just in me that, I need to enterprise. Maybe also, as I told you about the background in terms of, nearly said the hunger, but I said the background in terms of me wanting to make it better, because I realized we couldn't only survive on the income that my parents were making. I needed to figure out how to. I can't ask money from my parents at that point. I needed to figure out what to do. So the enterprising started there, and later on, even after I finished at UB, I remember my friend went for interview at Metropolitan and told me there's an opportunity that these guys are saying we can come and sell insurance. You know how when you're a graduate you think, me selling insurance, I need to find a job with a corner office and an aircon and everything. But the guy said, you know what, go hear what they're saying. Drop my CV, I got a call, then got into a certain program that they had, started selling insurance. And when I started selling insurance, that's immediately after I finished at UB. That was 2008. I started selling insurance the same year. Because I had that hunger, big budget. I can tell you that immediately I made an impact by being at Metropolitan. I became the best salesperson the following year. 2009. 2010, still I was the best salesperson. And then I still became the best salesperson still the third year in a row.
Just to interject over there. When you're talking about the sales, someone here, we've got a comment that says already, Mpo Balangsebele says, very active guy, the energies would just get you ignited. So I think that's confirmation of what you were saying.
Thank you very much.
You were talking about,
actually,
exactly.
I know her. She has actually experienced some of our services.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, so I was still taking you through that journey to say, then I became a sales manager at Metropolitan. And kind of when you're the best salesperson, obviously the organization wants you to be able to impart knowledge on how you have done things to other guys. So that's how I became a sales manager for 2 years. But that bug of entrepreneurship, that enterprising thing that I told you about, it was still there. And then 2014, I said, no, man, I'm working here, but also I feel like I can do more. But I can tell you, there's something that really made a turnaround. Because as I was helping people with their finances, because when you sell insurance, you get to hold a lot of people's pay slips.
Very true.
And it might also give you an answer of how Keywall started actually. Because I was holding a lot of pay slips. I was teaching Botswana about financial literacy. Because I started investing myself, by the way. I couldn't now, that was the transition to say, as a humanities student, how then did you come into the financial space? Because I was in the insurance space, by nature it's a financial services industry. So I had to then learn, educate myself, read a lot of books, start investing a lot in myself and figuring out what courses and whatever that I could get my hands into that I can inculcate into my mind to be able to assist more people. That's financial education, by the way. And I was holding a lot of pay slips. And one thing that I saw was a huge gap. Was a huge gap that a lot of people really lacked financial literacy because people could get financial products from us, but they had difficulties in handling and managing debt. They didn't understand how to create wealth.
Okay.
They didn't even understand how to create a budget, how to do so many other things within the money space, and even what wealth is. And then I said, you know what, that enterprising thing in me saw an opportunity, and I capitalized on the opportunity to say,
Wonderful.
let me go into the space.
Yes.
There's much that I can do in here. So you could say that it was more of my entrepreneurial bug meeting an opportunity that I saw existing, because I think that's one of the things that entrepreneurs should be able to do. Find opportunities where you are and bring yourself into it. You know, when people say follow your passion,
Yes.
I say yes, you can follow a passion to a certain extent, but sometimes find opportunities and bring your passion along into them. I already had an entrepreneurial passion. I think at that point, the buzz about entrepreneurship was already there. So I could now, label myself as an entrepreneur. At that point, when I decided to quit Metropolitan in 2014 and now start up a company, which was still an insurance agency, but now with a component of teaching people about money.
People.
Yeah.
And would you say it has been a fulfilling quest for you in terms of the fact that you said you would see people not being able to manage their debt? Do you think in the space that you're in, you've made quite a difference and quite an impact?
Big Budget, we've done quite a lot. And I can tell you, since me and you belong to the same cohort of the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which we did in 2018, by the way, big up leadership.
Leadership. No, it is what it is, man.
I get it. So we one of the questions that I was asked in the interview towards the Mandela Washington Fellowship was, what impact have you been making in your community?
Yes.
You know, the guys are big in impact investing and just making a difference in the community. Is that, Key Wealth started in 2014, but since 2015, we started educating people on radio about money. I can tell you right now, we've got more than 6 years on radio. Every week, people can tune in to Duma FM on Monday at 8:15 in the morning. Every Monday without fail, Madi Avenue, we've been teaching people about money. And we also had other radio stations, other shows on like Gabs FM. We also did Hale on Yarona FM. So we have been doing that. But also I think that is more of dissemination of information. But we have to now realize the impact on the ground. But you need to know that personal finance itself, it's 80% behavior and 20% knowledge, which basically means that 80% is behavior. So behavioral change, it takes a long time to measure, which means what? We need to continuously be educating people. So now you can ask what impact, as you said, do we have on the ground? I mean, this has been fulfilling for me because not only do we assist individuals, so we also do assist corporates in helping their employees manage and get out of bad debt. And that, for me, when I help someone get out of bad debt, it shows me that what I started the company for, it's actually now being realized because people's lives are being improved. And we also have done, I'll talk about key wealth years, but we have done so much in terms of training people where we get even feedback, people telling us that ever since you guys took me through a training, emotional intelligence, financial literacy, I was enlightened, and I was made aware, and now I'm making informed decisions. My life is becoming better because of the information you're able to give me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. This is a very exciting interview, and I'm sure we'll speak to more about the services that Key Wealth has. Let me remind you at home that our guest today is financial services titan and entrepreneur Mogomotsi Patrick France. So please do keep your titan. Titan, man. You know what? Because you are. That's what you are.
Thank you for that.
If you would like to engage and ask Mogomotsi Patrick France some questions, please either comment on the show in the comment section, or there'll be a link that is shared which you can use to call into the show. Now,
we want to hear from them. Please,
definitely. Please do. Let's engage. We've spoken about Mogomotsi, the individual. Mogomotsi, the
you don't mind also if I share this on mine?
You can share it.
Okay,
it's perfect.
That's great.
Exactly. The more the merrier. Now, yes, I can see that the link has been shared. If you'd like to call in and ask, you can call in, and then do keep your comments coming also. We spoke about Mogomotsi, the individual.
Yes,
we spoke about Mogomotsi, the entrepreneur. Now let's talk about the business itself.
The business.
What is Key Wealth, and what exactly does it do?
Thank you very much, sir. I think sometimes when people ask me what is Key Wealth, they're expecting to hear. Just give me a second here.
Not a problem.
People are expecting to hear. First of all, the services that we offer and all that. But I think the Key Wealth, it's an enterprise that was established to move humanity forward.
To move humanity forward.
Yes.
All right.
And in us moving humanity forward, there has to be why we exist.
Yes, of course.
Because yes,
Your
we exist.
purpose.
We our purpose. Yes,
Exactly.
we exist to move humanity forward. But every entrepreneur starts a business with a vision. Every entrepreneur starts a business with seeing an opportunity and a gap and realizing that they can capitalize on that. But when you look at Key Wealth itself, it wasn't started on the issue of us just making money. Like I said with you, that we wanted to make it. We wanted to educate people about money and help people on these issues of just money on itself.
Of course.
And we exist now. To move humanity forward, to educate people.
Yes.
And help people to plan, and help them to create wealth in any way, shape or form. And we exist now in 3 structures, because we train you, and then we help you to plan your finances and even your life, because now we've expanded to, because we're helping even employers, help their employees grow. And we also now have a risk management. So let me just now dissect Key Wealth, how it is. I've told you that we exist to move humanity forward, and our services are just financial literacy training. And now we've grown that Key Wealth it's got many services. And I can share with you that we've got 32 employees now. 32 employees, but it wasn't always like 30. That's numbers.
Yes.
And I hope your audience will be excited to know that in entrepreneurship there's something called an entrepreneurship J-curve. That you hear statistics that companies in the first 2-3 years they die, and there's those statistics. We're not spared of that. That's the reason why I'm saying we're not always this high in terms of numbers. The staff. In 2 years of existence, we hit a slump. In a slump, to put it in simpler terms, we kind of went down, and I had to downsize the company, and I had to let people go because we couldn't pay them, and I had to rebuild the company, and brought in other guys to help me rebuild the company, because the company is not one person, it's a team. And we went from now 4 employees on the rebuilding to now 32. Now Key Wealth as itself, we are licensed by NBFIRA as an investment advisory that's in the financial space. So we help you with your investment advice, we help you with your financial planning, we help you, as I said, with the financial education and all that, right? And we also are accredited by BQA as a training consultancy or education training provider. Right? ETP, sir. Right now, we've got 34 accredited courses.
34 courses?
Yes, sir. We're big.
That are
go big or go home, big budget. Why do you exist? You can't exist to be mediocre. You just have to be big like that, big guy.
Exactly.
Because you see, with us, we don't look at ourselves as a small business. We're a big business that is still small. I don't even small, one medium, I think, in the sizes of, if you look at businesses in Botswana. So we're accredited 34 courses. They all range from different disciplines, and they're all in the soft skills space. We have got about 9 to 10 courses on financial literacy. That's financial literacy, debt management, retirement planning, just so many of budgeting, all of them. But we also do have courses on your emotional intelligence, stress management, team building. There's quite a number of them.
Because I was going to say that you did mention the aspect of your issue being a behavioral issue.
Thank you,
This
sir.
personal finance being a behavioral issue.
So it has other issues that team up with it.
Exactly. So you have the courses that deal with the behavioral aspect. So that people are not just empowered about the financial literacy and financial knowledge, but also how to change their behaviors.
It's 360.
Wonderful.
Because you see, your behavior, because it's different, a lot of habits that they manifest themselves in different ways. And some people, but I wanted to say something, because now we're also evolving, and we're also responding to COVID-19. The new normal for that, because we know that people now are going to the space of your we're in the knowledge-based economy, but this fourth industrial revolution that everyone is talking about. I can tell you that as Key Wealth, I think we're the only company right now that are accredited on fourth industrial revolution, and thanks to my team, because they've put together fourth industrial revolution level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And we also have courses such as digital education. These are courses just that are going to position people to move into the new normal. And I also said Key Wealth, I talked about investment advisory and training, but we also have an insurance broker, which we do life and short term. Remember, the reason why the insurance broker exists as now part of the risk management, as part of what we offer as financial planning. It existed because everything started with it. Remember I
Yes.
worked at Metropolitan
Yes.
selling insurance.
Exactly.
So that's how, and we started as an agency, by the way, selling only one company, representing Metropolitan only.
But
The
it's
company
grown.
then grown to represent
Wow.
all the other underwriters, you know. That's why I'm saying we do life and we do short term, but we also do have investment advisory. We also do have a training, education training provider. So all this is called Key Wealth Group. And I'm happy to be sitting here to say that not only are we making a difference in people's lives, and we've got blue chip companies right now. I think we're getting all the clients. Our competitors out there must be thinking, these guys, what are they doing? Are they using some voodoo of some sort? But it's all because we believe in two things.
Yes.
We believe in the quality of service, and we believe in going an extra mile for our clients. That means making sure that we build relationships with our clients.
Oh, wonderful.
If you do have these two things, you go further in business. So that's how Key Wealth is structured, big guy, and that's how we are making a difference, and that's how we're also contributing to the reduction in unemployment.
I see you're very passionate, and also let me commend you for having built Key Wealth to what it is at this moment. It's now a multifaceted organization with a lot of different services.
It's not a Botswana company, by the way. We're growing we're growing nationally and growing into Africa. Remember my Mandela Washington Fellow.
Exactly.
So I'm a Pan-African. So I want to think Pan-African. I want to
Yes.
grow. We know we've got friends all over Africa.
You know
but
what?
let me not take away from
we've
your
got-
question.
We've got friends. I love the energy, man.
Yes.
Listen, you know, and it's wonderful what you're saying. You see, I think as young people out there, it's quite inspiring to see how he had a vision, and you said you brought your purpose you merged your passion with your purpose.
Yes.
In order for your business to get to where it is.
And I'm still youthful, by the way.
You, of course, certainly.
Yeah.
You see, our show is really about the youth. We
Yeah.
are really a show about inspiring young people out there to see that it's possible. You see, as young people, they shouldn't be afraid to dream big, to dream Pan-African and global as well. Wonderful. So I can see that you're very passionate about what you do, but I really want you to reiterate this issue, the importance of two things: financial education and then also wealth creation. Why would you say that these are important issues for us?
Thank you, Big Budget. Let me just take them as you say them. I'll take the financial literacy first, and then the wealth creation.
All right.
So, look, everyone exists. Sorry about that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Kind of, there's a live show, so I can say So now, Big Budget, we all exist in this world for the purposes of achieving something called freedom of the mind, not having to worry about anything. And I think once people realize, they wake up every morning, either to go to work or hustle or to enterprise, what the end result of that, even if you have your purpose, your vision, but the end result, how you're going to measure your success is when you're making that money.
Of course.
All right?
Yes.
And people who are working get paid at the end of the month. And we can all agree that no one ever set us down in an academic structure to actually teach us about how money works.
It's a very important
And now
topic.
we find ourselves only because this thing is a foreign thing to us. You know, we might be technically good at our job, but when we are rewarded with money, all hell breaks loose. Because then we get into debt, we get into all this irrational buying and impulse buying, just so many things that comes with lack of knowledge. So financial literacy in itself is understanding how money works so that it can end up working for you. And there's so many aspects in terms of financial literacy. As I spoke about personal finance, because some people confuse finance with, they don't know, they think finance is personal finance. Because
Please,
if finance was personal finance, then every finance graduate would be successful. You see,
Please, can you say that again? Please,
if
can you say
finance
that again?
was personal finance,
Yes.
or if personal finance was finance,
Yes.
then all the finance graduates would be successful. Because
You're speaking to a finance graduate.
I'm
So I wanted that point to be hit home.
So personal finance, as I said, is 80% behavior and 20% knowledge.
Wonderful.
So sometimes what we need to know and what we need to be able to put in front of us is what is our relationship with money. how do we build that relationship with money? And you build it first by understanding what it is and how it works. The financial structures. What is debt? How debt works? How can I use debt to create wealth?
Yes.
You know, how do I make sure that I differentiate between bad debt and good debt? And how do I make a budget that I stick to it and I make sure that my budget really works towards achieving my financial goals? You know, you need to set financial goals. There's just so many things in this finance space. But I want to give you, before I go to wealth creation, in terms of our situation in Botswana, because we are a population of 2.3 million. And if you look at people working in the formal sector, 400 and something thousand people working in the formal sector. And our household debt exceeds countries with millions and millions of people. In actual fact, Bank of Botswana releases a report. It's called Household Indebtedness Survey Report every year that shows how is our household debt doing, how far we are. And the last one that was in December 2020 showed that we are sitting at 50.7 billion in terms of household debt. And I can tell you, this is those 400 and something thousand people this household debt. And if you look at just to show you how it is in terms of 2012, it was 16.1 billion. Now it's 50.7 billion. And then prime at that time was 16%, now prime is 5.25. And all this is going, it's answering your question of why financial literacy is important. Because every time prime interest rates goes down, and people, what they do is they take more debt without knowing how debt works. Because you can't talk about financial literacy, or you can't talk about money without talking about debt. Because the debt is what people are really struggling with right now. And when we talk about money, big budget, people can have three questions. There are three challenges of money. Three challenges of money. Either you have an expense problem, an income problem, or a debt problem.
Say that again.
Either you have, let me just arrange them accordingly. All right. Either you have an income problem, you have a debt problem, or you have an expense problem. Or maybe the way they really work, because you start first with an income, and then you go and spend, which is expenses. And then you find yourself in debt. So we could say either you have an income problem, you have an expense problem, or you have a debt problem. Now let me just explain them how they are. An income problem is people that realize that, you know what I'm earning or the money I'm making is really lower than my means, or how my survival, basic survival amount. A person like that, what they need to do, they shouldn't start, complaining or there's never enough money. What they should be actually be doing is going after establishing other streams of income. They should be figuring out how can I increase my income by leveraging my skills, my knowledge, my talent, the opportunities that exist around. That's how you do it. A person with an expense problem is a person who is living beyond their means. There's a person who's earning a certain amount of money that can be able to cover their basic expenses, but they decided to live a life that their salary cannot afford. We always say that money is not a problem. The problem comes with things that you want. All the things that we see in our lives that we have attracted, either through debt or however, is because we said we want them. And now because we couldn't afford them, we have now a debt problem. So now let me tell this guy who has an expense problem. The simplest way of solving an expense problem is reviewing your expenses. Figuring out, really, starting to write a budget. Realizing that I need to really know where my money is going. So they say it's better to know where your money has gone than to ask where your money has went. A lot of us are stuck in a situation where we ask, another guy said, he said something interesting. He said, well, in most cases, we are left with a lot of month at the end of the month.
With a lot of month
at the end of the money, not a lot of money at the end of the month. So you see, it's because our expenses exceed our income to a point where we never really get to realize our goals. So just figure out how can I adjust my expenses? That's because the only way, big budget, for you to really invest and save money and do however is when your expenses are below your income and you have got that money left and you'll be able to invest it. And then the last one is the debt problem, which I just mentioned. We do have it a lot in Botswana. You need to really look at how to figure out because people and with the debt problem, big budget, one thing that I can advise people not to do is to try get out of debt using debt before they see a financial plan or before they get informed and really know how am I doing this? Because people get out of debt using debt how? top up, refinancing, consolidating, without really looking at how is this going to help me. Again, but there are other models like debt snowballing, debt avalanche, and just rearranging, reorganizing your finances and your priorities for you to really get out of debt. Because not all debt is bad. There's bad debt and there's good debt. So you see, I just summarized it for you, even though I spoke at length. Where you could either have an income problem, an expense problem, or a debt problem. But financial literacy, that's financial literacy, understanding issues of money, how money works and how money can work. Now,
of course.
Wealth creation. Everyone wants to create wealth. But you see, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Because being rich is measured in money, but being wealthy is measured in time. So let's say being wealthy, how long can you live without having to worry about money? So remember I said everyone strives to have that financial freedom without have worries, without waking up in the morning and thinking, what am I going to eat? Everyone strives to get to that point. But we always think that wealthy people means millions and millions of, no. Someone, having an income, let's say, okay, let me just explain the formula of wealth. It's when your passive income exceed your living expenses. Wealth is when your passive income exceed your living expenses. Passive income is money that comes in without you having to work. But you have to have invested in that first. Now, think about, let's take a scenario. And I always give this example. My money na sepe gore o na le pura tsene sekolo o ireng ha o se itse go a dirisa gona go tlala a lady who is a cleaner in an organization botshelo jwa gago bo le way better than the manager. And this lady now, I'm going to give this scenario with example with this lady. Go tla ba ikamogela 2000 ka lone ba di gara buye sentle big budget those guys 2000 like 1.5 10,000 ka utlwa le wena madi a tla go wena again relationship am so I'm saying
learning a lot. I was thinking to myself, I should have just brought a notepad.
So you read that. Don't worry, big budget.
This wisdom.
Yeah, you are leadership. You are my fellow, so you can always hit me up and then sit down. So you can get this lady here. You find that they are earning 2,000, but they've got the one room who deal is 6 that are giving them 1,000 each. It's 6,000 now plus 2 is 8,000. This lady is living maybe living expenses is 4,000. So even if you remove the salary and then you say 6,000 minus 4,000, you see that this lady is wealthy. She doesn't have to worry about money. So that's wealth is freedom, big guy.
That passive income.
Exceeding your living expenses.
Yes, exactly.
But here's the key again. It's difficult for you to start investing for wealth creation when you're still indebted. So you need to figure out how to get out of this bad debt first.
Get out of debt.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Manage it, get out of it, but get good debt.
Wow. Some pointers there. Passive income, you did mention that, and that's how we can create the wealth that we seek, right? And then you did say in terms of debt, issues of consolidation, issues of seeking further debt to try get out of debt, we should think of that. And then you did say from the expenses point of view that we need to sit down and start reviewing where does my money go? Just to make, you did talk about behavioral change. So if we start making it a habit of sitting down, listing our expenses, it'll give us a better picture of what we are doing with our money.
Where our money is going. And by the way, we also need to know that financial system, the financial structure, banks, they exist to help us in terms of our acceleration of wealth. It's just the people that get the debt that do not know how to use it. The things we call debt to income ratio, debt service ratio. Those are things that exist in the banking space, and even debt to equity ratio. To say out of your and even net worth. To say kind of net worth is your what you own minus what you owe. So you see, it's also linked to debt to equity ratio, meaning kana equity ratio. If you had to take look at your portfolio and say, okay, your portfolio, let's say $1 million. You must think of 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, 8 billion. So then you say, if I have a portfolio of $1 million, how much do I owe? If you owe 200,000, that means 20% of your portfolio. Is debt. But you see also in terms of cash flow, because cash flow is key.
Cash we need to sustain ourselves.
You need to also you can't just have assets. You need to have assets that generate income. Most of us we do have assets. We're millionaires in terms of the assets, but we can't be able to survive month to month because we don't have those assets. Do not generate cash.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, go on. I got a billion Melinda Gates that he was saying, "Wow, cash 70 billion." And this has got cash flow from dividends and all those other stuff. That's set for life. Those are people that have financial freedom.
Exactly.
And I believe Botswana can do it.
Very much so.
Not at the level of Bill Gates, but at the level of where we are.
Very much so. Mr. Franz, tell me about what you would say has been your biggest challenge on your entrepreneurial journey. Or maybe even if it's something that's personal, if it's what has been your biggest challenge and how would you encourage a young person out there to deal with this challenge that for you was the biggest?
I think the biggest challenge is realizing that you don't know everything.
Oh, wonderful.
You remember I said I was always inquisitive, always asking questions, always figuring out. And when I started a business, I stopped doing that. I thought, you know what? Because sometimes the reason why you stop sometimes, or maybe for me at that point, is because sometimes when you start a business and you ask people that really haven't started businesses, they tell you how tough it is. So you want to protect your mind. I think the mistake that I did then was to not then want to get information and then not really realizing, you know what, it's not like I know everything. I think it's not like I know everything. I'm going to link it to why the company really had a challenge. Because as I told you, I'm a salesman.
Okay.
So being a salesman myself, I realized later on that I didn't know everything. There are operational things, there are administrative things, there are account. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you think you are running a small business, you can do everything. And so compliance, you will offside, more operations, So then can't tell you a mistake and then your business goes down. But if you were to figure out, you know what, I'm not an island.
Yes.
There are things that I don't know. You don't know that you don't know and you think you know.
Hey.
And I can realize that I need other people. I can build a team around me that can be able to complement and help me grow. Because I think the success of Key Wealth, not only did I have the energy to rebuild it, but the success of Key Wealth is basically on the people at Key Wealth, not me alone. But my turnaround point was realizing that I'm not alone in this thing. I need people because I might be good in one thing, but that one thing is not the business itself.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because I can be good in bringing in the business, but I need to have people that can know how to really deliver on the continuously and deliver quality of service. Remember I said there are two things: building relationships and quality of service. You can build relationships. The job is here, but do you provide the quality of service? You're going to lose clients soon. So that was my turning point to say I really, really realized that I needed to not only invest in myself, but also trust other people. Sometimes entrepreneurs, we fail to trust other people because we think that in this thing and we're the only ones who can do it better.
Wow. No, that's very interesting. We could spend the whole day here, but the whole night rather. But in closing, how can people access the services of Key Wealth? And then secondly, if you are open for mentorship, because I know a lot of young people would like to reach out to you, how can you be contacted?
Thank you, Big Budget, and thank you once more for inviting me to the show as my fellow in the same cohort 2018. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Mandela. You were which state were you in Ghana?
I was in Atlanta, Georgia.
8 year.
8 year.
I was in Chicago. Chi-town.
Wonderful.
Having fun in Chi-town, and but I didn't see Kanye West or Chance the Rapper by any chance, or even R. Kelly.
But it was a rich and a very enriching experience.
It was. It opened up the mind. I always say if you have never traveled, your mind is as small as Gaborone. You get exposed. That's why sometimes people can come into our country and they see opportunities we don't see because again, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yes.
So you asked about mentorship and you asked about where people can find Key Wealth.
Yes.
Let me just give people, let me talk about the mentorship and then last I give the contacts.
All right.
Look, mentorship is something that I guess continuously, even with my staff, I am mentoring them.
Yes.
And even people that have access to me, I do mentor them. But you see the intentional well thing scheduled, I'm still in the grind. So sometimes you might find that I might not have the time, but I think in setups like this and also when the mentee must also push. In sales and things that I'm strong in entrepreneurship and sales and financial
mutually beneficial engagement.
Yes. Plus again, you must be willing to remind. You must push, not wait. You must always be figuring out how to get hold of me and get my time because I think my time is becoming expensive now. Big budget. So now I'm open for it, but I think I might not have the time now because I'm
Alright.
also grinding. I'm also
Yes.
still in the grind.
Yes.
You know, they say, okay, my philosophy is I must work on the business, not in the business.
Okay.
But
Okay.
because when you work on the business, okay, when you work in the business, kind of you become an employee, you become everything. And when you pass on, the business dies, and you just you can do everything. You can't eliminate yourself from the business. But what I'm doing now, I'm working on the business.
On
That
the
means
business.
I can build a business that works
Yes,
even without me. Okay. So now that also takes a lot of time. So I'm open for mentorship, but I might currently not have time now.
Yeah,
but
that's
in
fine.
certain forums, I can. All right.
Yeah.
But in terms of where you can get hold of us as Keywealth, go to www.keywealth.co.bw. That
Okay.
KEYWEALTH.co.bw. Okay.
Yes.
That's our website. Okay. We've got the landline there, the email there. Now you can contact me on at france@keywealth.co.bw. Remember France Kuala Hats.
Francisco Wala
Wala
Heights.
Hats,
The nation, yes.
The nation. France@keywealth.co.bw.
France@keywealth.co.bw.
Yes, on there on Facebook again is Mogomotsi France Speaks. That's a page, but also I've got a profile Mogomotsi Patrick France.
Yes.
That's where you can get hold of me.
Mr. France, it's been quite an engaging conversation.
It feels like we've been
Thank you.
talking for 5 minutes.
You know what I'm saying? That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
we
We
think
could
we
go
need to
on
go.
and
We
on.
can go. Yeah.
We'll hit a sequel.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do like
No
a,
problem,
is it a
big guy.
not prequel but sequel, whatever. Hey,
So
I'm thinking rap now.
I can also say
Yeah,
you
rap,
might
ex-
we need, yeah.
Right, but let me thank you once again
Thank
for
you, Big
gracing our
Budget.
show.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. And we wish you all the best in your endeavors.
And I really like your studio, guys. Keep up the good work. I'm coming back here again.
Definitely,
And
we'll have
definitely
you.
we'll chat more about other
And
issues of inspiring
strategize.
Botswana. And strategize.
Yes, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
collaboration is key,
Yeah.
and that's something that we have learned ourselves with what we have been doing through this show.
And
Collaboration
Big
is
Budget, do you know that when we came back from the
fellowship.
Mandela Washington Fellowship, one of the things that we were asked, even when we went there, but also when we came back, was how are we going to help our communities
Yes.
to move forward
Absolutely.
and just improve and just do the not corporate social responsibility, but corporate social investment,
Exactly.
invest in
CSR.
our societies and through knowledge, through whatever we do.
And we
I
hope
think
that
you're
with what
doing we're doing a great job, big guy.
With what we're doing, I
with
hope
what
so,
you're
you
doing
know?
now.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Big Budget.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
We
big guy.
can go on and on.
Yeah.
So we're going to just go for a quick break. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
All my enemies will suffer my wrath, but those of my household will enjoy my embrace. I refuse to let my weakness get the best of me. Be more hard and less attack.
Right. So today's 2-minute tip. A lot of us young entrepreneurs will reach a point where we want to seek funding for our businesses. And so it's only natural that we should have business plans for our businesses. So we'll talk about 4 basic elements that your business plan should have. Number 1, an executive summary. This is basically going to talk about your basic goals and objectives for the business and other company-specific information. Number 2, market insights. You need to talk about what you'll be doing for product development, customer acquisition, and as well as dealing with competition. Number 3, management. You need to state the human resource component of your business and state who is going to be driving your business towards its profitability and success. And then lastly, make sure you include financial projections. Remember that your business plan should paint a financial picture of where you see your business going. So once again, make sure you have an executive summary. Make sure you have market insights. Number 3, make sure you stated your management and human resource component. And number 4, financial projections. It's been a wonderful show. As always, thank you so much for your time. From me, Big Budget, and the team that makes it happen, Black Network, Mowana Pictures, it's good night and God bless. And never forget that you were born for so much more.